I want to go to our political editor, Andrew Clennell. Andrew, talk about a massive announcement on a day when there is one story internationally, that being the hostage handover. Am I being a bit cynical in the timing of all of that?
No, you're not. No, you've got to hit it on the head. But even more so, the PM's away. So the PM would have signed off on this, but then it went through Cabinet this morning, you know, in the same fashion the PM would have agreed to. And it looks very clearly, look, I don't have any doubt about this. I actually inquired of various senior people if there were any changes over the weekend, couldn't get an answer. Basically made to feel like there wasn't something happening. This is Prime Minister rolling Treasurer here. I don't think you can read it any other way. Jim Chalmers, this is his proposal, dreamt up with Treasury. He was proud of it. He announced it a while ago. He announced it before the election as if to say, here's the mandate for it. And here's the details of the back down. Now, he's indexing the $3 million figure when this new 30% tax up from 15% comes in. So that was a piece of controversy because a lot more people were going to get captured over the years. Our kids, for example, most of them would have been hit by the tax. But then he's also making it only on realised earnings, moving to a realised earnings approach that aligns to existing income tax concepts, the document says. So the other controversy was on unrealised gains, that you basically chucked a farm or a house or whatever else into your super and you got taxed on that even though you hadn't made a profit from it. So the two most contentious things, Kieran, Jim Chalmers has just backed down on, but he's put one other thing in there, or a couple of other interesting things. One is he's going to put a 40% tax if your super fund's got more than $10 million. And he mentioned talking to the Greens Leader Larissa Waters. So I think we can deduce from that the deal's been done here with the Greens, that they'll pass this proposal, but their condition would have been, we want a higher tax. We want a tax on those with more incomes, more in terms of their super fund, because originally they wanted a tax on people on more than $2 million. And the other interesting aspect is the federal judges. Here at Sky News, we revealed a while ago that certain state officials, former governors, former judges, former police commissioners were under the Constitution exempt from this tax. And he's thrown federal judges in the mix. And I could be mistaken here, but I'm pretty sure this is something David Pocock, the Independent, spoke to the government about. But the key to this really is it is probably the biggest back down of Jim Chalmers' time as Treasurer. There's no doubt the PM's done it. And it's yet another sign of how pragmatic the Prime Minister is. And the fact that basically he's not going to let anything stand in the way of him having a large majority for a Labor government. He's not going to let any sort of new tax or tax problem become a problem for this government. And this is why he is so hard to attack from an opposition's point of view. Yeah. And for him to fly off and they go, it's hostages day, the PM's away, let Jim stand up and renege on his own original announcement, Kieran.
Yeah, and so on all of the points of criticism, there's been a compromise. Can you clarify on a few of them, particularly the one on the judges and the public servants? Can you just give a bit of clarity as to where that's landed? Very interesting number as well, the $10 million threshold, upping it for the higher tax rate. I'm going to ask the Treasurer about that in a moment, just how many people get caught up in that. But just in terms of the judges' question, how is that all being managed as part of this?
Well, he's saying essentially federal judges weren't exempt from this tax under the Constitution, and it was based on previous cases where Peter Costello was trying to bring in super tax. State judges were exempt. Certain state officials, former chief public servants, etc., former governors were exempt. And he's obviously said, we're going to chuck federal judges in the mix. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Who's lobbied him on that? Why is that change even necessary? I mean, with the High Court judges blowing up because they're saying, well, why do these Supreme Court judges get the exemption and we don't? And I guess there's an element of community service to being a judge, which is what judges' pensions are about. But nevertheless, that's going to be controversial. But otherwise, as I say, it's really about he's delaying it till 2026 for more consultation on defined benefits. We could see even more changes. That's the thing. This proposal, Jim Chalmers told us, was modest and not that big a deal. And yet we're seeing wholesale changes to it today, particularly on the two most contentious points. Indexation, which means people won't get caught by it down the track. that takes a lot of heat out of it, and unrealised gains, that also takes a lot of heat out of it.